Thanks, Goose. From Polish developers The Astronauts comes the stunning narrative adventure The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. And when I say stunning, I mean jaw-dropping, take your breath away, holy crap, look at those sweet graphics, stunning.
We'll come back to how pretty this game is later, but focusing on what you're there to actually do, you discover that you are a detective trying to solve the mystery of the disappearance of a young boy named Ethan.
Straight away though, it throws up a disclaimer. This game is a narrative experience that does not hold your hand. I'm not sure how I feel about disclaimers, Bajo. It seems to me like when you need to say something like that at the start of your game, it's because you're trying to cover all your bases.
Yeah, it's kind of like you could say there are parts of this game which are boring and broken, but it's supposed to be that way because it's an artistic choice.
Yeah. Nevertheless, I launched forth into this non-hand-holdy narrative experience set on solving the mystery. In the first area, you're faced with a forest of traps. The more you explore, the more dangerous the forest appears.
As you discover these deadly contraptions, you have the ability to sense what seems like a fragment of a memory, but the memory is blocked in some way.
I have to say, I found it really hard to focus on the task at hand because I just kept walking around and screenshotting everything.
Yeah, it's frustratingly beautiful.
It really is. And you know, I would say it's even worth taking 20 minutes at the start of the game to just wander around and take it all in. Then go back to the start and actually attempt to try and solve the mystery. But that's what I did anyway, I couldn't help it. And I was coming across intense stuff, like severed bodies on the train tracks with blood everywhere, but oh, look at the moss on those rocks. I mean, that is some seriously realistic looking moss.
Dare I say it?
Moss of the year.
The technique used to create such realistic looking environments is called photogrammetry, where real world objects are photographed from around 40 to 50 different angles and then composited into software to create photorealistic surroundings. The result is, as you can see, quite impressive.
Once I had enough slow pans recorded, I did then try and go back to solving the mystery. But I started to feel like I wasn't quite getting all of the pieces and I wasn't sure why. Then when I quit out of the game and went back to it, none of the discoveries I'd made had saved.
Yeah, it's a bit strange, isn't it? And you'd think the answer is to just explore further and deeper into the game, but the more pieces you find, the less it really starts to make sense. There's an element of a larger story that you expect will piece together as you go, but you never really get the whole picture.
Yeah, so at this point I went back to the first significant crime scene that I'd come across with the blood and the severed body and so forth. And I focused on just working my way through that. Upon completing this puzzle, it played out a memory sequence, a fragment of the story, and then it triggered an autosave. So basically in each area there are self-contained puzzles that you must solve and complete before moving on, because nothing you discover there will save otherwise.
Mom! Mom! Where are you?
I'll deal with your brother. Just go, now.
I mean, that wasn't explained very well, and I feel like I wasted a lot of time not knowing that.
But Hex, this game is a narrative experience that does not hold your hand.
Damn it, the disclaimer, of course. I guess I have no right to complain.
Piecing together the clues contained within each area will reward you with more memory sequences or play out wild, imaginative, fictional stories that were written by Ethan himself. All of a sudden, the story will start to take shape, and you'll find yourself wrapped up in a very dark, very twisted tale.
There is a very dark and very confusing haze around what is Ethan's fantasy and what is in fact the reality of what actually happened to this family. It was such an interesting way to craft a story, and that intrigue just drew me deeper and deeper into this game, Bajo.
Yeah, you wonder if some of it is a psychological coping mechanism to deal with something truly horrific that may have happened to him. Or is there something supernatural and esoteric going on here?
And these kinds of games are always so exciting because they allow you to explore the remains of something significant. You're retracing steps, piecing together scraps of information, and filling in blanks as you search through some ghostly past. And in the case of this game, all set within one of the most beautiful environments I think we've ever come across, Bajo.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how this game makes me feel like I'm in a constant state of wonder and confusion. The puzzles themselves are quite straightforward most of the time. Simply find and replace missing relevant objects to trigger the memory from the past. But others are far trickier and will take some really clever thinking.
I think my favourites, though, were the more symbolic stories from Ethan's wild imagination. They were surreal and wonderful and such a change of pace.
Absolutely. Once when we lost in a jump scare maze with a terrifying ghost miner.
Oh, I hated that bit. I mean, I loved it, but I hated it. So much of this game had that sense of just falling down the rabbit hole, didn't it? As if the deeper you delve into this sordid mystery, the lesser chance you have of getting out. What are you going to give it?
I thought this was utterly breathtaking. This is how you tell a story like this within this kind of visual environment and keep the player engaged on multiple levels. And it just excites me so much that in the future all games might look this good. I'm giving it 8.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Well, for me, for starters, I have my next 10 desktop backgrounds good to go since playing this. I could just stare at it forever. Unbelievably beautiful. But more importantly, the story turned out to be the best part. I quickly forgot that small frustration I had at the start as soon as I started sifting my way through this dark and moody tale. I'm giving it 8.5 out of 10 rubber chickens as well.